welcome to my video. This is going to be my thoughts on Cloak and Dagger Season 1, Episode 10. This episode is called Colony Collapse. Spoilers for everything MCU leading up to and including this episode. Another episode I love. The show is rated something like 14+, 16+, and so will this video be. Before I start, now that I've completed this season, for those following along, I am not going to dive directly into the next season. The next show I do, I want to say, is the second season of Gifted, the X-Men show, since I'm doing these in the order that they originally aired. Let's dive right in. So, yeah, this was a really solid finale. Some of the best action, some of the best stunt work. Let's see. I was a tiny bit surprised that the cops weren't on Ty the moment he left the house, but they did catch up. As was set up in the penultimate episode of the season, they're looking all over the city for him. So let's see, we go back to the countdown, which I don't know how I remembered it as counting up, like counting 1, 2, 3 instead of 3, 2, 1. Yeah, just I can't explain that. It's like the tides, and for Bill O'Reilly, but yes, we get the countdown again, which, say what you will, this is a very patient assassin. She waited like a week. Is this one of the shows where the episodes aired a week apart? And then she counts down again, but yeah. The fact that Tandy hid the daggers was very clever. Like, we thought she was gonna, like, almost come charging or something, but no, she hides the daggers again, and then walks in. What? I'm unarmed, which, like, it's one of those wonderful things when someone says that in a Hollywood production. They're armed. There's something else going on. It's like she might as well be like singing and dancing. You're gonna die. This is just and she gets just close enough, and does use let's see, did she use a dagger right away? She uses it to slice at her leg after, but yeah, she manages to get the gun out of her hand, and like daughter, like mother, I guess. Tandy's mom being all badass, hitting the assassin, and even gets the gun after a little bit of but by then it's too late. She can't. She can't shoot her before she's already out the door. And let's see. Yeah, great bit with the I have to go stop it. Why you? Why not? And that is like it's fairly simple, but it is true. Like, there's a lot of situations where one might find oneself thinking, do I really have to be the one to do it? And yeah, the question isn't why me, it's why not? If everybody says, why does it have to be me, then no one fixes the problem. And a lot of there's a lot of problems in the world that we could have fixed sooner if more people would be willing to be the first to step up and say, you know what, screw the why me, no, I'm going to do this, why not? And let's see, I really appreciate Ty's father being so supportive. It's one of those things, like, parents will do a lot for their offspring, Ty is like, I'm not a cop killer, and his father's like, I know, of course you're not. I'm here to help you. I'm not here to ask you why you killed the cop and how could you do this to our family. You don't even have to say those words. Like, of course you didn't kill a cop. I know you. You're my son. I love you. And he tries to sneak him out, and then, I'm going to try to sneak you out, and then he looks, and he's just gone. That was pretty good. yeah, I really appreciate the calling out of the cop racism. I am not going to repeat what he said, but yeah, the turn of phrase he uses there is offensive to native to indigenous, yeah, native and indigenous people. Let's see, the perhaps especially in America, but I'm not 100%. I don't know enough about other countries to say for sure, but for sure in America, where the show was set. So and yeah, really really gutsy, and it's one of those things I love when you see people who know their rights. That's 100%. It's not acceptable for a cop to speak to you like that. And let's see, yeah, I quite like, yeah, there is of course a weakness to this thing of, well, not a weakness, but limitation to the teleporting around. If there's, people on the other side, he teleports away, they, the cops might shoot. They're very fond of doing that in America, and hit innocent people, so yeah, despite sometimes the duo being anti-heroes, here he does the heroic thing and lets himself get caught by the cops instead of teleporting away. And let's see, yeah, not going to be chronological, so let's just go ahead with the, yeah, once they're, yeah, I like Bridget pointing out, so you're not going to book us, are you going to book us or what? And yeah, they don't want for the, what's the word? They don't want this by the book. And again, I can't help but notice the cops that hear that don't do anything. They might not have heard his response, but they definitely heard, several of them definitely heard Bridget saying, are you going to book, again, bunch of cops, they all know you're supposed to arrest them, and they visually it's very clear. Yeah, he drags the two of them right past the I forget the terminology, but yeah, the specific place where they're supposed to arrest people, and yeah, I quite like, Bridget is willing to admit, there are not enough good cops, but there's more than one, she says. I disagree with most of what she said, but yeah, and what's the word? Yeah, she tries to get the cop to, yeah, she's basically trying to provoke him, because there's that thing, if I'm being shot at, I can teleport, and yeah, he just says, you're not from around here, which, yeah, she was transferred from New York, so, and then Tyrone appeals to him and says, if you really, so apparently 504 is like the area code, so he's saying if you're one of us, then you'd know better than, so that was quite good, and yeah, it worked. He got him, not immediately, but once the terrors attack, yeah, they're able to, what's the word? He helps them. They're, and if not for that, then it really would have gone wrong. So, I have my issues with propaganda, but at least it is acknowledging there's a lot that don't feel, yeah, that there's a lot that don't do good, and yeah. Let's see. Yeah, the line, I only knew Fuchs for, was a few hours, but he was twice the cop you'll ever be, or something like that, just, yeah. And, basically appealing to his pride, his sense of honor, that sort of thing. And, let's see. I think, yeah, she breaks her thumb so she can get out of the handcuffs. Just yeesh. Yeah, and the places, yeah, and we hear the crooked cop, or the one in charge, explain, we're gonna go for a drive, and but yeah, what was it like? Yeah, both of you are gonna end up there, so something like that, and yeah, um, let's see, and then the yeah, terrors attack the police station, which yeah, Scarborough did say there's a well, I think Tangier and Mina said it, and Scarborough said yep, but yeah, there's one of the um, things is right next to a police station, so that's what's happening there. And that again, this really does show how important green energy is, how much we have to take care of the environment, so that like in real life, there's not this sort of like gas that makes you know there's not a yeah in real life there's not a gas that makes you into just like a mindless zombie and engage in really destructive activity. There's an app, it's called Twitter, but the at least since Elon bought it, but the yes, the yeah, some really great action in the police station, and I really appreciate, yeah, some of these people do end up dead. The show is willing to get that dark because these are not like, I mean, the MCU has always had a bunch of people dying, but a lot of the time it's gonna be like, oh, these are the bad guys, the villain and his henchmen and that sort of thing. These are literally like regular people who are temporarily possessed, and yeah, they're being shot because they don't really know how else to do enough to slow them down. The taser doesn't have the range, and is let's see, it's one of those tasers where you gotta like pull it back out of the person you fired it into. So yeah, they end up using the guns. Let's see. Yeah, really, really clever, luring them into the room, and then he teleports out. That was, yeah. And that they did a really great job. We've been told, one of the two is going to die, and ultimately yeah, like there's the intercutting there with Ty having the cloak torn, and Tandy with her back against the wall with Mina approaching. Yeah, like we're sitting there wondering which one is it going to be, and then he's able to teleport. He stops Mina, and I don't know if it's supposed to be that maybe it's like a turning over a new leaf kind of thing of like, yeah, in the past it was necessary for one of them to die, but that doesn't have to be. And that is important. We have to not be tied to the old ways. If a new way works better. There's a lot of problems that have been solved by people being willing to think outside the box and do something previously unheard of. That was also great how, we got these stories of some of the others that, there were two people, one of them died, the other one lived, and they were bound by fate. We have the thing about the fish coming back, and that is like, there are a number of stories across many cultures where it requires a sacrifice of some kind to, yeah, bring back the animals and the crops, these sorts of things, so that people can go on living. Yeah, the let's see, 1812 or 18 something, 1918, stuff like that. And the yeah, with the let's see, the 1918, the thing, when he like injects his lover, like for a second there I'm thinking, oh, they're subverting bury your gays, but nope, it's just the other gay who gets buried. But yeah, but at least it is like, no uncertain terms, those are definitely like, they straight up say his lover, so yeah, little bit, not enough of positive, gay representation, or at least non-straight. I suppose it's possible they're bi or pan, but yeah. Let's see. I honestly don't know if these stories are like accurate to, but I could imagine certainly. Yeah, great job on the like. It really did feel like we're seeing 1918 and 1812 and yeah. Let's see, and that I think brings. Oh right, yeah, and the duel. You know, how ridiculous is it? Like, think about how much of human history, if two people had some kind of dispute, there was some chance that they were going to try to kill each other over it. It's just completely ridiculous. And yeah, I'm really glad that in much of the world, at least, we've moved away from that. It's just so destructive. But yeah, in this episode they talk about, one of them willingly he like faked it so that he let's see, he took out the bullet, I think it was, or was that the bullet that hit him? Anyway, he didn't load it, knowing that it would mean his death, and that actually stopped the blood feud, which it's one of those things. I don't know if this is a real story, if they made it up for the episode, but it's the kind of thing. Sometimes that would work, sometimes it wouldn't. But one reason why it might work is that if someone you care about sacrifices their life to stop a conflict, and then you resume that conflict, yeah, that's a real jerk thing to do. You just invalidated their sacrifice. So I'm thinking that's the thinking there. Now, yeah, really appreciate Evita going to, so you're both going to save the world, but one of you will die. Could you run that last part past me again? Just, yeah. And the thing about, okay, you know what? Second take, I'm kind of digging you two together. No, seriously, if we survive this, you should put a lock on that. You are Tyrone, baller lady killer. That was really fun. I don't know if all that slang is accurate, or if it's like people who are too old to be using that slang trying to sound like, how do you do, fellow kids? But yeah. Let's see. Then we have the they despair, but they manage to pick themselves back up. And right, also the part there, when Tandy and her mom are being shot at by the assassin, which is also, she lost the one gun, but she probably has like a backup somewhere nearby. That makes a lot of sense. Because she's so eager to kill them, she doesn't realize the terrors they're right behind me, aren't they? And yeah, if she had not been so devoted to violence, she might have lived. I'm not sure that Tandy would have been unwilling to help her, at least temporarily. If she had been like, I have a gun, but I'm not going to fire it. Let's work this out, kind of thing, But no, and yes, I realize she didn't know that there would be, terrors there, but that's the thing, live by the sword, die by the sword. You don't necessarily see it coming. You don't know who is going to enact violence upon you. Same as a lot of the people you might have enacted violence upon didn't know you were going to enact violence upon them, and the time of the attack as well, because obviously if you're trying to commit violence, it might be more might be more effective if the target doesn't know that it's them and when and where and such. Now, I'm not speaking from experience. Now, that brings us to... Yeah, I suppose I'll just briefly say, the end of the episode, we see Tandy move back in with her mom, which, yeah, by now, they've done a lot to heal. And Ty is living in the church because, he is still wanted for murder. Let's see, and I liked when Ty's mom, she hears something and she doesn't say, "I think he's upstairs." She just, walks up there, trying to be as casual about it as possible so no one realizes. I appreciate the priest is there. He does still really want what's best for Ty. And yeah, the confrontation in the elevator. I almost like I want there to be like an outtake where one of them says going down, and before he gets into the elevator. But yeah, you have the they talk about the thing, and when Mina strikes him, which was also pretty badass. The in real life, I'm not in favor of violence. I'm just saying, these are shows that have violence in them. That was also this really pushed it pretty far. Tandy is struck right in the face, and at one point there's one of the terrorists is like choking her, hands around her neck. Pretty dark, not something we'd have seen in the MCU at the start, and some of the movies try to be less, I'm not saying, again, obviously in real life it's not okay. I'm not saying every piece of media should have violence against women or something. Almost none should, but I do think, in part also because, like, at the end of the day, she's not a victim. She kills that terror. It's making it clear that if she doesn't kill him, he'll kill her, basically. It's like if it was like a fighting tournament or something. They're maybe not exactly evenly matched, but they are both able to kill the other. Which is not necessarily a fighting tournament, but I think in a fighting tournament they're able to hit the other so hard and so many times that the other will no longer be able to continue fighting, or will choose to resign, quit, whatever, throw in the towel. Let's see. Yes, the towel, not to be confused with towelly. Don't forget to bring a towel. I do that voice way too much. I gotta stop. It's just a fun character. I think they were trying to set out to make the worst character ever. I disagree. I don't think he's the worst character ever. Far from it. Anyway, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I really appreciate. Tandy did go to the. She's holding up the paper, and it says Roxxon responsible, which is somewhat ironic because in real life they are irresponsible. Well, companies like it. I realize Roxxon is fictitious, that's the word. But yeah, I do really appreciate that because at the end of it's not only it's not only about her father's name. There's other people who were hurt there, so she came around on that. I quite appreciate that. But yeah, elevator, after the right, yeah, and the thing about they learn oh, there's 9 pumps, and that's not they're not going to be able to go around to 9 different pumps. Even Ty wouldn't be able to get to all of them before all the deaths reach an absolutely unacceptable number. So but the core is where you shut it down, and that's Mina doesn't know that, but Tandy does because she was inside Ivan's head. I like that, in this episode, Mina is somewhat less optimistic than before, which, don't want to put too fine a point on it, Tandy. Well, maybe I do, but this is one outcome if you take away people's hopes. She's somewhat pessimistic in this one, But yeah, there is still some. She is still not completely despairing. She's not a doomer. Let's see. Then we have the... But yeah. The one thing I definitely want to say about the elevator. So, yeah, by the end, Tandy goes up to Scarborough, makes direct physical contact, goes into his hopes. And yeah, he's, he just wants to be rich. Or, powerful. You want to be a god. I want to be God. You know. And yeah. She tells him, godhood is right behind that door. You know, just go through the and you see her face as he's doing it, and there's no hesitation, no regret. You know, yeah, she trapped him in his own mind, and we already know there's no the only way to be brought back out of that is Tandy and Ty, you know, helping you out of that, and they're not gonna do that. You know, so she is condemning him to a lifetime of going through. Is it gonna be the exact same? I guess it might be the exact same thing that Ivan was also going through, since that is what Tandy and Ty saw, even though they weren't there back then. Yeah, that's probably it. And yeah, you know, it's one of those things, like, she didn't kill him, but an argument could be made that it's a fate worse than death. It's mental torture for the rest of his life, and we already know that it's going to seem like it's taking much longer. You know, the earlier episode we saw that, let's see, what was it, in maybe 60 seconds, crap, was it 6 hours or something? It was a lot, you know, that it lasted. So yeah, and he, you know, I don't know, is he 40 or something? If he ends up in a place where they take good care of him, he could live a bunch of decades more, you know. So yeah, very much anti-hero kind of stuff, like, because at the end of the day, she could have, like, forced a confession and had him go through a trial and go to a regular prison kind of thing, you know, but, you know, it's, I don't know if, you know, that I feel like the show is gritty and realistic enough that probably wouldn't have worked. He would have gotten out of it somehow. It's extremely rare that powerful people are held accountable. Now, let's see, but yeah, you know, it is pretty, it's quite harsh. And I think that brings us nicely to, what was the other thing? I guess I've got, right, yeah, really, the legitimately really tense when we see some of the people, like, start to turn into terrors. You know, there's one cop is able to stun one person, and yeah, he follows procedure. He checks his pulse because suddenly the guy isn't moving. You know, you gotta, yeah, make sure that he didn't die from that, because I forget the details, but there's some people who can die from being tased. Like, if you have a heart condition, I think is one of the, you know. So yeah, he has to check to, you know, should we do CPR, or is he just passed out, or what's going on here? But the moment he touches, you know, skin to skin contact, that, you know, he becomes possessed by the terror. And Mina, you know, yeah, she's trying to keep them safe. She closed the window, but it is a window and there's someone right outside, so they break through, touch her, and possess her. And yeah, you know, so basically, like, throughout this episode we see people who, you know, they were you know, they were at Mardi Gras, they were, like, partying, and suddenly they're this, you know, horde of really dangerous people attacking anyone who isn't part of it. You know, as an introvert who's been to a party, I can relate. Now, let's see, yeah, I was pressured into it. Didn't want to be there. Nobody wanted me there either. Yes, the other than the jerks would pressure me, I guess. Anyway, yes, let's see, there's at least one more thing. Yeah, the bit with, you know, they're trying to decide, you know, who. Yeah. And Ty teleports into the core, and she, like, carves her way through, and he's like, "Screw you, we're doing this together." You know, that was a great moment. Let's see, and yeah, the idea that, you know, no, it's not about just, like, shutting down the core. It's about absorbing the energy and releasing it into the the air, where I'm hoping it doesn't tear the ozone layer a new hole. And let's see, maybe that was why. Maybe one of them would have died if they had just shut down the thing. The way that it was done in Ivan's, yeah, could be. Now, let's see. I think right, yeah, we have the part where let's see, it's the cop who, again, the crooked cop with some power. He's still so focused on just doing violence, so he shoots Bridget several times, purposefully aiming for the vest because he wants her to be in pain before she dies. And also, she manages to snipe some of the, because there really was a massive amount. This episode really had great production value for the budget. But yeah, and he, let's see, yeah, some of the gas gets released onto her, and then he knocks her into the water. And at the very, very end of the episode, I think this is the first post-credit scene that this show has had. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. a bunch. We see her emerge, and there's like this wicked smile, and there's something with her eyes. So yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, looking forward to, to seeing more of that, and I'm thinking season 2. Let's see. I think that does just about solve all of the... Right. I quite liked, so when Tandy went inside Evita's mind, it wasn't exactly a good experience for either of them. But now, Evita says something like, what was it? I wish I could help more, or something like that. And Tandy says, I know, I saw your mind. That was a great little, because she was trying to take it away from her, but she can't deny, clearly Evita wants to help. As much as at all possible. I think that might cover the entire episode. Yeah, just really, they did a great job building up stuff. The fact, so let's see, yeah, the terrors, actually, yeah, yes, a lot of stuff in this episode is payoff to stuff that was set up earlier. The terrors were set up in the Ivan Mind Prison episode. The idea of cops, unquestionably believing this black person is a criminal. In an earlier episode, we also saw there's been times where it seemed like there was racial profiling. Let's see, the thing with the core was also set up in the Ivan Mind Prison episode. We get a conclusion to the crooked cop thing, which was set up a bunch of episodes ago. Ty found out that a bit back. Bridget, is found out as having worked with, well, I suppose that was, this has the consequences for her being found out as having helped Ty and working against other cops. Let's see, the idea that there are at least some good cops out there, Fuchs, Bridget, and now also did they call them Lafayette, or was that something else? It's ADHD, too many names, I can't keep track. Let's see, yes. I think that's all of the setup that I wanted to, but we get some more about the relationship between Ty and his parents, and yeah, Tandy and her mom. Yeah. Ty said that if he had a dagger, he would use the dagger. He doesn't have a dagger, so yeah, he trapped he trapped the cop. And I understand that that's something from the comic that Cloak can do. So yeah, that was yeah. And I guess was that maybe when he realized he would be able to absorb energy of some kind, you know. But yeah, that was also, you know, there at the end when this, you know, no, actually our power is this gas power thing, you know. So yeah. And yeah, that was it does make a ton of sense that you know, they literally are the only two people who could possibly do that, you know. Everybody else who's been exposed to the gas has become a terror. It's just it's those two that are the exception, and then by the end of the episode, Bridget. So I guess the real thing is that the gas can, you know, yeah, it can turn you into a terror, but it can also give you superpowers. Just add water. Now, the IMDb trivia... the Roxxon Annex designation 616 is likely a reference to Earth 616, the designation of the main Earth of the Marvel Universe. When Peter Scarborough mentions that Roxxon has to keep up with the Joneses, as well as Starks and the Rands, he refers to Marvel Universe millionaires Tony Stark, Iron Man, Daniel Rand, Iron Fist. However, the expression keeping up with the Joneses does not refer to Jessica Jones, as some had surmised, for she is not wealthy at all. It is a common expression which means to keep up socially and financially with others in one's social circle. And, you know, personally, I do think that the show is in a lot of ways better than at least season 1 of Iron Fist, but yeah. All right, Olivia Holt, who plays Dagger, performs the song Come Sail Away. I don't think I've heard it before. Is that the one that Cartman, if he hears the start of it, he has to finish it or he can't do anything else? And let's see. Yeah, so under spoilers, someone added, in the Marvel Comics, Cloak can allow people to be trapped in his cloak forever and still their greatest fears. On the show, he merely uses this power to transport. I think that was added to the wrong episode, because that's like, I mean, that's like one of the first episodes. He's been instilling greatest fears for a while now, and in this episode, he does appear to trap the cop in his cloak forever. So, yeah, I think what maybe happened is someone copied, you know, they entered that for an earlier episode, and then they meant to enter it for this one, but with like the addition of, by now he uses it for all three. But like, I don't know, maybe the correction was rejected or something. Now, in the end credit scene, oh right, actually, you know what? I think that's arguably a spoiler for upcoming episodes, not just this one. So yeah, yeah, if you want to know, it's on the IMDb trivia for this particular episode, you know. So yeah, yeah, really very satisfied with this finale. Looking forward to getting back to the show, but I'm also really stoked to be watching Gifted again. Holy crap, that is one of my favorites of the various Marvel live-action shows that came out in recent years. I have to be very specific. There's probably a specific name for it, but, you know, if I just say Marvel shows, there's a bunch of animated, you know. That is one thing. I'm not sure I see myself going to do, like, the animated Spider-Man shows, because I'm a completist. I'd want to do all of them, and there's so many, because they've been making them for as long as they've been doing the comics, just about, you know. So yeah, but yeah, gonna try to do the next, gonna try to start on Gifted one of the next days. We'll see exactly when, but yeah, hope to catch you then.